let's suppose that we are starting with an existing graph. So we're going to go from a graph, and we want to go to the equation. How do we find the equation of a graph? So here's our graph that we're going to look at. Let's move it up and shrink it down so it's the right size. And we notice that we have our vertex already at 2, 3. So remember, our vertex is hk, which means we already know that h is 2 and k is 3. And so we want to write this in transformational form. And so we can plug in our values that we know now. So we know that f of x is equal to a times x minus 2 squared plus 3. So now that we have our graph, it's real easy to make sure that we adequately get the vertex, which is why we like transformational form. The vertex comes free. But we're lost on a. Well, our graph is going down, so we know that a is negative. But we don't know if it's a 1, we don't know if it's a 2, we don't know if it's a 3, we don't know if it's a half. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a point that's not the vertex. Remember that all points are x, f of x pairs. So my x in this case for this point is 0, and my f of x is minus 5. So I can replace f of x with minus 5, and that's going to equal a times 0. Well, let's change the color so it stands out. 0 minus 2 squared plus 3. And now we have this a floating out here by itself, and all we have to do is solve for it. Well, 0 minus 2 is just minus 2. And minus 2 squared is positive 4. Subtract 3 from both sides. And we get that negative 8 equals 4a. Divide by 4. And sure enough, our a is a negative. Just like we were expecting. It's going down. In fact, if we look, we go over 1 and down 2. So we could have looked at that too, and then over 1 and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we could have used the pattern to try and find it, but it's so much easier just to make sure we're right by plugging in a point that's not the vertex. And so our final answer is f of x equals minus 2 times the quantity x minus 2 squared plus 3. This is the function that gives us this graph.